I love Arbonne, personally. I love the passion and the mission of the business. I think Peter Mork has founded one amazing business here, and I'm so excited to be here today for that reason. You're great at it. I'm not great at it yet. I'm quite new. I'm 6 months in, actually, but I'm learning to be great at this business. And I love the passion and professionalism that everybody here in this room embodies. I think it's one amazing business. We're paid for it. It is a fair wealth distribution model. It's the fairest wealth distribution model I think I've ever seen. Normally, I work for companies who have big investors and wealth collects in a very small number of hands, and everybody else suffers, especially the poor in the poorest parts of the world. This business is different. And finally, the world needs this business, and I want to talk about why what we do with Arbonne makes a difference for the planet. So I'm going to list some help to talk about nature in general from my friend Julia Roberts. Not really.
Some call me nature. Others call me Mother Nature. I've been here for over 4.5 billion years, 22,500 times longer than you. I don't really need people, but people need me. Yes, your future depends on me. When I thrive, you thrive. When I falter, you falter. Or worse. But I've been here for eons. I have fed species greater than you, and I have starved species greater than you. My oceans, my soil, my flowing streams, my forests, they all can take you or leave you. How you choose to live each day, whether you regard or disregard me, doesn't really matter to me. One way or the other. Your actions will determine your fate, not mine. I am nature. I will go on. I am prepared to evolve. Are you?
We need nature, and during the presentation so far, we've lost about 300 acres of rainforest just since I started talking. So what I wanted to do was to talk through some of the things that are happening to our world right now as a consequence of business activities, consumerism, inequality, and actually the reason why I'm going to talk through these specific points is because I believe Arbonne can help with each of the points that I'm going to talk through right now. So I mentioned forests and rainforests. We've actually destroyed 50% of the world's rainforest so far. And as I said, approximately 100 acres of rainforest destroyed every minute. So according to my timer, that's now 400 acres. We lose about 140 species through that deforestation every day. And some of those species actually could hold the cure for cancer, could really help us from a medical perspective, but we don't know. And the problem is we're doing this every day. Now, why are we doing this? We're doing this because we're clearing rainforests to create way for agricultural production, for beef, for cattle ranching, and also for things like palm oil production, which is big in the cosmetics business. And that's a terrible thing. And the rainforests are also the lungs of the planet. So they absorb CO2, about 25% of the world's CO2 is absorbed by rainforests, and they pump out oxygen, and they allow us to have clean, fresh water. Climate change. By the end of the century, London will be underwater if we carry on the way we are in terms of normal business activities. And climate change will create climate migrants. So we're going to have poor people migrating from the central belt of the planet who have no water, who have no way of sustaining themselves, to places like here, which will create huge problems. So climate change is a massive issue. Transportation, which actually we rely on to transport our Arbonne boxes, emits about 13%. Plastic waste. Every year, 5 bags of plastic across a space of coastline, across all of coastline in the world. 5 bags of plastic going into the ocean every year, and that's our waste, basically. So, in the Pacific Ocean, there are big currents called gyres, and this is where all the plastic actually accumulates. And there's a floating mass of plastic right now in the Pacific Ocean, the area the size of Texas. And that's important because that is actually getting into our food. In China, 2 weeks ago, they found that in table salt, there was plastic. And animal production, protein production, meat production. Every hamburger needs about 3,000 litres of water to produce one little hamburger. So that's about 2 months' worth of showers. And at the end of the day, that also needs land. It creates deforestation of the rainforests that I referred to further up in the first point there. So all of these are really, really serious problems that people like me and governments and other people are really trying to solve. But they're finding it very, very difficult to solve these problems because at the end of the day, we need to give everybody in the world cheap, consumable products. But there's a different way, and I believe Arbonne has that different way. So obviously we are plant-based formulations blending the best of science and nature. I'm going to read some of these out and I'm going to tell you exactly what it means to us and to everybody else in the world. We are 98% responsibly sourced RSPO certified palm oil. We have vegan certified products, we have carbon neutral transportation, and we have sustainable packaging. FSC certified soy-based ink, 90% personal care product packaging is recyclable, and the plastic in your packaging is water soluble as well. So why does that make a difference? What does that really mean? Well, the RSPO certified palm oil, so that basically means sustainable palm oil. So what that means is any palm oil produced that is RSPO certified should not create any deforestation. So no rainforests are being chopped down for RSPO palm oil. Now, palm oil is a really important product for the world. It's the most productive way of actually making oil. Palm oil goes into 1 in every 2 supermarket products that we buy. It's in chocolate, it's in shampoo, it's in face creams, it's in everything pretty much that we buy. Peanut butter, everything. A lot of different food stuff that you really would not expect to have palm oil, and it will have palm oil in it. And it's a very productive way of making oil. The bad thing about it is if you have to chop down the rainforest to create the oil, that is really, really bad for the planet. So on the one hand, we have a really good way of creating oil. On the other hand, we have a very bad way of getting land to create that oil. RSPO finds ways with World Wildlife Foundation, WWF, to help us all grow palm oil in places that is sustainable, basically. Just to give you an idea of why this is so important, I was in Singapore and Hong Kong a couple of weeks ago, and for the last 2 months, in Indonesia, there have been fires that humans have set alight rainforest to clear away for agricultural production. That haze, or the smoke, has covered the entire Southeast Asian region, and people in Singapore, really the advice from the government is do not leave your house. For 2 months, that advice has been do not leave your house. So it's quite a serious issue. Carbon neutral delivery means the transportation emissions from every box that Arbonne sends out are minimized to 0. How do they do that? Well, what they do is Arbonne, all Arbonne's providers, invest in projects that cut CO2 down in other places in the world, like in Cambodia, a biodigester, it might be planting trees in different parts of the world, it might be having wind farms in Uganda, various different projects like that. The paper is FSC, Forest Stewardship Council certified paper, which means it's not from rainforests. It's, again, sustainable paper, comes from trees that are sustainably grown in places like Norway, and the packaging therefore protects rainforests. The packaging is also water soluble and therefore prevents so much plastic waste ending up in the ocean. And finally, Arbonne plant-based nutrition means water is saved and the carbon footprint versus a meat-based meal is halved. So think about all those protein shakes, those nutrition bars, all of those are plant-based nutrition, which don't eat meat. And that's a critically important thing because, as I pointed out earlier, meat is one of those things that's quite damaging for the planet. So what I wanted to really look at, this is really the reason why I joined Arbonne. I thought it was the most amazing business opportunity, but what would the world look like if everybody consumed products using Arbonne products or a similar kind of model? What would that actually do for the planet? What benefit could we create? Well, I think it would be huge. I think if we all washed and ate and applied creams on our faces sometimes, that were made with sustainable palm oil, there would be no deforestation created by all of that consumption of product. What would that do? That would start to stop climate change. It would start to allow us to protect our rainforest habitats and protect those valuable future sources of medicines that we will rely on in the future. Every box is transported with Arbonne, carbon neutral, so therefore less CO2 emissions from transportation means less climate change. That's 13% disappeared from our types of activities. Sustainable packaging. That means protected rainforests and no plastic ending up in our oceans, creating huge problems. And finally, plant-based vegan nutrition. Just imagine every day you have a protein shake that replaces a meal. Let's say there might have been some meat in that meal at some point in time. That's 50% less CO2, 92% less water, and 94% less land required for that vegan-based product versus meat. So, really, we just have one little planet. And I actually believe that this beautiful blue planet that we live on is worth preserving. And I think that, you know, through what we do in Arbonne, we have a pure, safe and beneficial product that's pure, safe and beneficial for us and also for the planet. And what we do can protect the planet. So the way I think about this is the more people that change their behavior to buy Arbonne products, the more we are providing a benefit for the planet overall. And therefore I think that with Arbonne we actually have a valuable gift in our hands for the world. I think we should make use of this and we should tell more people about this. And really, I just encourage everybody, including myself, to be the change that we want to see in the world because it can protect the world. Thank you.